I'm so excited for this video. Oh my god, I've been waiting for this moment for a long time. Before I get ahead of myself, hello there, I am Bonnie, and in this video I'm gonna be introducing Project B. This is a very exciting project. If you can't tell, I'm very excited about it. As I've mentioned, I've been working on this for a very long time. Actually, it's been like a year and I'm not done with it. I'm only halfway through, but I'm now at the point where I can actually share it because this notebook is going to be handed off to its owner very soon, as in 2 days, because of course I did not stick to the schedules that I set up for myself. Anyway, this is, in a nutshell, a custom bullet journal for my very best friend. And it is custom in every sense of the word. Welcome to my babble session about this project. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I think I'm gonna do this video in segments, talk about the backstory, talk about the notebook and some logistics, and then maybe look through the yearly spreads, and then I might at the end include a wrapping segment where I actually wrap this off, because this notebook is not for me, it's for my very best friend, and it's going to be given to her at her birthday, which is on the 19th of December. And I'm filming this on the 17th, but it's not going to be up until after, so that she doesn't get spoiled. Alright, for the backstory. Back in 2023, yes, this has been in the talks since then, I was visiting B and I was showing her my bullet journal. She was flipping through it and she was like, oh, if only you would make one for me. And I hesitated for like 0.2 seconds before I was like, all right, let's do this. Because this is not, in fact, the first time that she's mentioned the possibility of me making her a bullet journal, but the first time she asked, I had no faith in my artistic skills or my bullet journaling skills. I was still relatively new back then, even though I've been doing it for a few years, and I just didn't know how to go about doing a custom bujo. But when she asked again, I had consumed a lot of custom bujo content and I had developed artistically as well, so I was feeling quite confident that I could do something nice, and hopefully I did. That is definitely relative, but I hope that B enjoys it. So when I agreed, that opened a can of worms that I didn't know existed to be opened, but we had a lot of conversations and discussions about this, which was really nice because she's also an artistic and creative person. So being able to pool our creativity together was really amazing because we don't get to do that often. And it's just nice to have a friend that just gets it, you know, even if you're like very extra like me. So we talked about the general vibe, what we're gonna do, the notebook type, and like all of the themes and such, and she chose all of the themes. Some of them I had to turn down because even though I just said that I developed artistically, I wasn't at the level where I could transform her ideas into like a physical layout on paper. So yeah, we talked through things and bought supplies together. We went on a couple shopping sprees, went through Pinterest and made a bunch of Pinterest boards for the project and just had a lot of fun together. But for the most part, she left a lot of creative freedom to me to do as I please with this, which I'm very grateful, and I hope she likes what I've come up with. When she mentioned it, I told her upfront, like, there's no way I could do this before 2024 starts, so it's gonna be for the year of 2025, and she was okay with that. I told her it's gonna be your birthday present and your graduation present, because we graduated together in 2024, and we planned on making it just one notebook, but that did not happen. Obviously, I'm only halfway through. Only the 6 months are ready because the first half of 2024 was hectic for the both of us. So I'm sure she understands. But yes, I'm done with the first half of the year. I'm going to continue working on the second half of the year. But now I'm at the point where I can actually start sharing this. I've mentioned it here and there. You've seen it titled in my layouts in other videos, but I haven't talked about it outright because I like keeping some of the suspense. Anyway, This is actually, I think, also why I started this bullet journaling channel, because I told her maybe I will film it also to add another layer to the creativity and fun of it, so that we always have a memory of the work I did. And I think I started it in 2024, so I would have a bit of a platform before I started posting these videos. And yeah. Let's get into the second segment, which is the notebook and some logistics. So this is, as I said, is completed. So I'm not gonna spoil anything, but we can talk about this notebook, because although we planned on having just one notebook, I actually just made two. And when I say made, I actually like handmade these notebooks, sort of. So one of the first questions I asked her is like, what paper color do you want? Because in 2023, I was using black paper and I've used it for many years. I used white occasionally, and then I was dabbling into using gray for 2024, and we also have tan paper as an option. And I told her, like, which one do you want? Do you specifically want hardbound, or are you okay with a spiral bound? Do you want the traditional dot grid bullet journal notebook? Do you want lined notebook? Like, whatever you want, you let me know and I will make it happen. And she said, I want all of them. And I was like, bet. And I made it happen. So I told her, if you don't mind the spiral bound, I can make it happen, and I did. So what we did is get 4 different types of notebooks for the 4 different types of paper. So black, white, tan, and gray. The black and white are from the Rocco sketch pads, which are easily accessible, and then the tan and gray were from the Strathmore toned tan and toned gray lines, and I got them all in A5 sizes. She ended up getting them to me. She bought them and brought them over. They actually had a sale going on at that time for buy 2 get 1 free, so we got a good deal on those. But yes, we ended up using 5 notebooks, I think. 1 black, 1 gray, 1 tan, and 2 white. Because all of the other notebooks came with 50 sheets, except the white one, it came with 40 sheets, and I told her that I will just use 1 extra for it. And what I did is take apart all of the notebooks and then rearrange the paper types, then put the notebooks down. And at this point, I'm a pro at taking apart spiral notebooks and putting them back together. So that wasn't the difficult part. The difficult part came in the fact that the black paper ended up being slightly slimmer than all the other different types of paper, and we couldn't get black paper in the same size anywhere else. So what I had to do is actually trim all of the other papers to be the exact same size of the black, and then we put them in the desired order before I put them into some spiral. And the covers, I used the covers of the white sketch pads from Rocco because they were the ones that the paper didn't hang out of the cover, if that makes sense. So you can see there's a bit of space between the end of the cover and the paper, actually, because we ended up trimming some of the paper away. And trimming the paper actually wasn't really easy because I couldn't just trim from the outer edge and that would be it, because I needed all of the spine holes to line up. So I would take a black piece of paper, line it, or like line the holes with the other paper color, and then trim from the outer edge but also the spine edge. I worked on it for a couple of days, and once that was done, I arranged the paper. And that was another thing. My friend originally wanted one colorway, but when it came down to actually putting the notebook together, I told her that it's not gonna work and we will have to do it some other way that makes more sense aesthetically. And the original color order was going to be black, white, gray, tan, or something along those lines. But when I was putting the pages together, it just did not make sense because gray and tan don't really look together, and we are gonna have a lot of those half and half pages where it is half black and half white or some other type of combination. So I told her it would make more sense if we had it black, gray, white, then tan, because then all of the combinations in between work. So black looks great with gray, gray looks great with white, white looks awesome with tan, and tan looks brilliant with the black when the cycle repeats. And so that is what we went with. For the starter pages, I did a weird paper count, but when we get to the first official cycle, as I'm gonna call them, cycles of colors, we're gonna have 2 blacks, then 2 grays, then 2 whites, then 2 tans, before we return to the 2 blacks. And that completes an entire cycle, and the thought is we're gonna use like 1 month in this color cycle. That didn't end up happening because based on the theme, sometimes I wanted a black cover page, other times I wanted tan or some other color. So it depended on how many pages I did for each theme. Sometimes I used like the half and half spreads, as I call them. So one side is a color and the other side is a different paper color. And other times when that didn't work with the theme, I just simply glued them together, which made it so that some papers or some pages were thin, others were thick, but honestly, I don't mind. And the reason why I did 2 notebooks instead of 1, even though we originally planned on just using 1 notebook, is because I just had all of these papers lying around. I had a lot of extras after I put them in the desired order. I can't remember exactly how many pages I put into each notebook. If I go through the trouble of counting them, then I will put the number on the screen when I edit. But I divided them into 2 notebooks, and then I had a bunch of extras which I used when I needed to use like paper ephemera on top of that like notebook paper or anything like that, or if I needed to add pages and such. So yeah, that is it for the notebook. As I said, we discussed the themes and made a list and sort of like a vibe for what we wanted each theme to be. But I'm not gonna share all of this here because, as I've mentioned, I filmed the process of each monthly setup, and that will be coming out in each respective month next year, so in 2025. So I'm not gonna spoil it because I don't know. Anyway. I did, however, not film the setup of the yearly spreads or starter pages because honestly, this took a lot of work. Like each theme or each monthly setup took more than 3 weeks to complete on average, but probably more than that. And it was nearing the time where I will need to be finished with this to hand it over, and I wasn't done with the notebook. So what I ended up doing is just setting them up in my own time, because then I can work on them sporadically, do something here and there without having to worry about filming it and getting nice shots and having the like time segments in my day to film this. So we are gonna take a look at those now. This is the cover page, which is not gonna make a lot of sense stylistically until I reveal that this is actually like a collage of all of the themes in this notebook. That was the original idea that my friend suggested, and it would have had 12 themes if I did 1 notebook. But because I did 2 notebooks, I just put the 6 themes here in a way that looked nice. But that's all I'm gonna say about that. This is the future log. This is where my friend can jot down birthday dates, event reminders, appointments. She can use this for memories. She can block off time off from work, extended weekends, holidays, all that sort of thing. And I went with a very simple layout. I used a number stencil that I have, and everything I mentioned supplies wise is going to be linked down below if I can, or at least listed. So I have a number stencil, and this is my favorite number font, and I used the largest size to do these with a gold marker. But the gold marker ended up being like a two-tone marker, so there's a lot of silver embedded in that gold. But I like the look of it, and I went with a scribbly style that rather than trying to fill them in entirely. And then I did a very simple line to divide the days of the week from the actual calendar before writing the calendars here with a white gel pen. And I have a mini calendar stencil also that I used as a placeholder so that I can evenly space out the numbers without having to do a lot of penciling. And then simple divider lines between the 6 months. And I wasn't sure how to decorate the yearly spreads because beyond the cover page, we didn't choose a theme. And actually, like, all of these are my ideas because my friend is not a bullet journaler. I'm not sure if she has like watched videos since or is familiar with the method, but the yearly spreads, I set up what I like to have and what I think my friend would like to have. I'm not sure if she's gonna end up using this at all because we have joked about having this in a glass box to display. Anyway, I ended up having this gold sparkly cardstock paper that was actually like inside the packaging of a brush set that I got for my birthday. So that was fun, but I just ripped it to have like a ribbed edge and glued it down. Next, we have a goals and intentions spread. So I left this pretty open. I just decorated it a bit and put in the titles. I used a Abro Fat Face font, which is also one of my favorite fonts. I did them in white on the black pages or the differently colored pages, and then black on some pages, I guess, and then also outline them with gold. I'm not really sure you can tell, but I used the same gel pen that I used for this, which actually is right here, so I might as well show you. It's this one, but unfortunately I can't get this pen again because they recalled the entire stock. More on that probably later in another babble session. Anyway, I used more of the gold paper in really small ribbed sections here, did goals and intentions, and used some sparkle stickers to add more spaz and decoration. But I left this pretty open because I don't know how my friend sets her goals and intentions. So she can either like do what I do, which is set 6 goals for the 6 first months and then do 6 intentions, and each intention correlates with one of the goals. And the way I think about this is goals are what I want to do and intentions are things I can do to get to what I want to do. So like action steps, things I can do to, I completely forgot the word, but like make progress on my goals. So for example, if my goal was like to learn a new language, my intentions would be to use Duolingo consistently and maybe start a language learning journal and watch some selected YouTube channels or something like that. Or if it's like learning how to bake, I would choose recipes, make it a goal to bake at least 2 or 3 times a month, and so forth. Then we have a finances log. Again, I kept this pretty open with some structure also. I did the header with some sparkle and did this style of decoration with the gold paper. And then here I just used the same number font in a smaller size and did the numbers 01 to 06 with gold divider lines. And this is where my friend can just have a general summary of earnings and spending, maybe savings also. She can categorize it if she wishes, but yeah, the idea here is to just have a snapshot of how much she earned and spent each month. Here though, she can use this to plan her budget, maybe to have like a category tracker to see where her spending is going, or maybe to have some statistics on how much she earns and spends if she has multiple income sources or multiple spending sources as well. Whatever she want to do, she can do here. Then we have a movies and TV shows tracker, quote unquote. Again, I kept this very open because I don't know how my friend want to track this. I did 2 sections of the gold paper, just ripped it and have it on the outer edges, and then used the same font, same style to write movies and TV shows with some sparkles. My friend loves to watch movies and TV shows, and I thought this was a cool thing to track. She can either print the covers or posters of movies and TV shows and track it that way, or she can make a table and just list them. Maybe if she is watching a TV show with multiple seasons, she can write the title and then a circle or some shape to track the seasons she watched or something. A lot of possibilities, but I didn't set anything up because I didn't want to constrict how she can use this spread. Because let's say I made spaces to watch, I don't know, 16 movies and TV shows here and here. Maybe she doesn't have a printer to print in that size. So I left it quite open. This is work, and again, very open. She can use this to track her actual work, personal work, whatever she wants. I did the gold paper up top this time, and I wish I had taken apart the notebook to like glue some sections here so it doesn't cut off where the spine edge is, but I did not do that. This time I put the title down at the bottom. I like to do that sometimes. Maybe I should call it a footer, but it is a header, so it's a header at the bottom. Anyway, keep this really open. If she want to do some lesson plans here, maybe her schedule, whatever she wants. Then we have this interesting spread. So this is, I think, an original idea. I was inspired by like scratch off cards, and I planned on purchasing some scratch off tape, but I didn't order it in time, so I ended up DIYing it. But the idea here is when she needs a pick-me-up, she can come and scratch one of these, and maybe what is written underneath by me is gonna be helpful to her in some way. And I'm hoping like God is gonna guide her on which one to open, and for it to be like the one she needs at that particular moment of time. I named it Mood Boosters because honestly I couldn't come up with a better name, and then used some sparkles, put it down at the bottom as well, and then did a bunch of them. And it's very simple. You use clear tape and then acrylic paint on top of it. Obviously I used gold paint, and then I ended up doing this scribbly border around each one because it just didn't look right before, like without the outlines and such, and then use a bunch of sparkle stickers here. This one is a projects tracker. This can be personal projects, whatever projects like birthday parties she plans or whatever else. I did the title here with some sparkly paper, and then used this specific layout, which is my favorite for projects because you get to like plan your project and keep it hidden if you wish to do so, and then if you don't make progress on it, nobody sees that, not even you. It's hidden from you and from whatever other person sees your bujo. So yeah, I've used this specific layout for like a year now, so I love it. And I use some glitter tape here to tape the sections down. We have 6, which is a good number for a span of 6 months. This is the last or second to last spread in this yearly setup. We have a memories section. This is a very classic bujo spread, but my friend loves taking photos, and I thought it would be really nice if she got to print some of them, roughly 1 or 2 a month, and stuck them down. Maybe she can print it on a smaller scale and then write something underneath it, or if she doesn't have a printer or can't or forgot or was too lazy, like I am usually with this type of spreads, she can write about her memories. So I just did some like picture frames almost, did the sparkly paper up top again with the title in white. The next spread after this is January, so I'm not going to show that, but we have actually one last spread at the back. It's right here. I ended up making a mid-year check-in spread where she can like summarize the mid-year to reflect on it. I added sections for like what inspired her, the lowest points, new skills or things she learned, her favorite things, an emoji that describes her feelings, or maybe an emoji that she's been excessively using in the last 6 months. Top achievements, top challenges, positive habits and routines she has built or maintained, negative habits and routines she would like to work on, to stop doing or whatever, old goals and the progress on them, and then still relevant goals and new goals she would like to potentially work on. I had a couple of extra spreads at the back, so I thought something like this is a nice finishing point until I give her the next notebook. But this is actually it for the first part of Project B, and it is called Project B because my best friend's nickname is B, and bees play a large part in her identity and aesthetic. And of course, I ended up getting a bee charm and gluing it on the cover just as an added touch. I thought briefly, right before I actually glued it, I thought about putting it down here, and I was like, oh no, I'm just gonna go with the original plan. But now I wish I did it like right at the bottom here. It would have been more unique. Alright, but with this notebook, I'm gonna actually give my friend a couple of stuff that I thought were necessary. The first thing is some pens she can use to actually use the notebook if she ended up doing so. I got this pack with 4 microns, a fine brush pen, and a jelly roll, and I thought this was really good because then she has options if she's gonna need to draw or sketch something, or just simply write if she want to try fancy handwriting, and when she works on black paper also. But then I also ended up getting her this pack so that she has like a gold gel pen and a silver gel pen for some options, and another white gel pen, this one in a finer size. So yeah, we have these two. And also I thought to include some stickers. So I'm gonna give her this pack of nail art glitter stickers. I used glitter stickers in the setups in this bujo, and I thought I would give her a pack in case she ever wants to use them or needed to. And I really like this pack because it is 4 colorways, but there's 2 sheets of each, which is the average number that you would need to do a setup, an entire setup. I don't think she's gonna need to do an entire setup, obviously, but in case she would like to use them, they're there. And also we have this version. This is a beautiful like letter font, fancy letter font. So I'm gonna include that. And then I'm also gonna include some leftover stickers and ephemera from some of the setups that I have left over, in case she would like to use any of those as well. I honestly wasn't too sure how to go about packaging the notebook and the side gifts, and I had some problems that presented itself in the process, but I think the way I did it is the best, probably the best way I could have come up with to package this notebook. So what I did is I looked up how to package a book on YouTube because I thought that was my best bet when it comes to wrapping a notebook, and that was definitely true. I found a really cool idea where you use the wrapping paper to create 2 front pockets, and I thought it would be really cool if I put the card that I prepared in one of the pockets and then got a bunch of baby breath flowers to put in the front pocket. So that's what I did. But the wrapping paper that I had wasn't actually wrapping paper. It is like flower wrapping, if that's not what it's called. It is what florists use when packaging flower bouquets and such. So it is sheer, and it's also cut into predetermined squares, and also had a translucent border all around. So I used one square, but I cut out the translucent parts. They're definitely a little bit wonky, but other than that, because this is almost plasticky and not really paper, it was really difficult to manipulate into sharp edges and corners, but I worked it out. You saw my paper was already sort of folded, and that's because I attempted it before I turned on the camera just to see if I can actually get it to work. And then this is the card that I made. It's an old drawing of mine that I stuck on some white paper, lettered Happy Birthday B on it, and then added a lace border and cut around that border, which made it look really nice. And then the day before the party, I went out and got a couple of sprigs of the baby breaths, trimmed them down, and put them on the front, which was really nice. I also got this black ribbon in a medium thickness, I would say, and I made a layered bow. My first attempt was definitely a failure. I cut it way too much, so I actually threw that one out and redid it. The way to do this bow is really easy. You wrap the ribbon around your forefingers a couple of times, and then you cut little incisions right at the middle where the bow tightens, as you can see I'm doing here, and then get a separate piece of black ribbon to tie it, and tie it tightly. And then all you do is pull apart the 4 loops that you made, and you have a really nice bow. And that was really good because it hid the little glued area, because I didn't use any tapes. I used some to hold the paper or the packaging in place, but then removed them and used some liquid glue. To make it look even neater, I took a small piece of black ribbon and covered the knot, so it looks much nicer and neater. When it came to the side gifts, the pen packages and the stickers and such, I really wasn't sure how to go about those either. I tried wrapping them individually, but because I'm using florist wrapping paper and it's sheer, they really did not look good. So what I ended up doing is looking up on YouTube how to make a bag out of wrapping paper, because I knew that was a thing, and it was pretty simple. You just fold it and tape it, and then the bottom you fold it and tape it, and you have a bag. But I also had some struggle here because I made the section way too large, so it wasn't folding nice, but once I cut it, it worked fine. It worked splendidly, actually. I used clear tape just at the bottom, but then when I was sure that it works and looks nice, I glued the vertical section, the very large section, with glue. So I put everything in, the stickers, and the pen packages, and I went to close it and use some clear tape, but then I go back. It's just a placeholder because it doesn't really look nice. I went back and put some small mini rose stickers to close it at the back. Then I thought it would be really cute since I had some leftover baby breath sprigs. I thought it would be really cute to make a mini bouquet, but honestly at this point it was midnight and I was getting frustrated because my bows weren't looking nice no matter what I did. So I left it and did it the next day and then glued it in the corner. Alrighty, so here we have the gifts wrapped so very nicely. We have the notebook and there's the card that you can pull out. Really neat idea. I love this idea for packaging square things like that. And then we also have the side gifts and the mini bag that I made. And I like how everything is cohesive and the same. Now all that is left to do is to put them in the gift bag that I got. I got a black one just to keep the style and aesthetic going, but that is it. Now I can hand it off to my very best friend. I hope she loves it.